My name is Joelle Wight, and I am joining you from my office at the Community of Christ Parsonage here in Washington, D.C. Today, I want to tell you one of my favorite church history stories. As a community born from dissent, we are not afraid to voice our opinions, even when they are contrary to those shared by church leadership. While this dissenting spirit is essential to who we are and how we've developed over the course of our history, there are also times when it is threatened to tear us apart. One such instance occurred in the 1970s as the church began to take a more liberal path. Many who longed for the more traditional beliefs to which they were accustomed voiced their concern in a variety of ways. They distributed publications, hosted large events, and even conducted their own worship gatherings. As their actions continued to undermine the established leadership, President Wallace B. Smith knew something needed to be done. One evening in January 1983, feeling directed by God, President Smith and Apostle Roy Schaefer arrived at the small schoolhouse where around 200 members who had separated themselves from the world church attended a worship service offered by Restoration Festival Incorporated. Smith and Schaefer identified several peripheral leaders of the event and asked if President Smith might be allowed to speak to the group before the worship began. After some convincing, President Smith was allowed to speak. As he stood behind the podium, he said, "I come to you this evening in response to the Holy Spirit, which has rested on me very strongly the past few days. That good spirit has impressed on me the necessity of making some attempt at reconciliation between the church and those of you who are meeting here tonight." He continued to share about the importance of bridging differences and striving to understand God's call in each specific time. President Smith simultaneously offered reconciliation while also protecting the evolving beliefs of the church. He then concluded, in part, by saying, "That is why I have come here tonight, to say that the church which I love and have pledged my life to serve, just as you have, is large enough and loving enough to hold all of Zion's children." President Smith finished his remarks, and he and Apostle Schaefer departed. The loss of members in the 1980s might leave some to call this visit a failure. However, in heeding God's call, President Smith extended the hand of reconciliation to a group feeling hurt and rejected. Taking this action, in my opinion, is always a success, regardless of the outcome. As I reflect on this story, I am struck by Wallace B. Smith's courage as he went where he felt God was calling him to go. I am also reminded that peace and reconciliation should always be sought, even in incredibly difficult circumstances. May we all remember this story as we discern God's call and pursue peace on and for the earth. May we all embody a church large enough and loving enough to hold all of God's children.